The idea was simply that people who owned land in England and were going off to fight in the Middle East wanted someone to be responsible for looking after and managing this land on their behalf while they were away. So they created this mechanism whereby somebody could have all the rights of ownership to be able to manage it without having the right of benefit, because the benefit would be held for the returning crusader. Suppose you'd got a rented property in trust and you'd got one child that needed an income stream, perhaps because he was doing badly in business or he's a student, whatever it might be, and you would like the rents to be paid to him from this rented property. So you could give him the right to the income from the trust. But you might have longer term plans for the property itself, where perhaps you've got another child who's got grandchildren, and you intended the property really to be saved long term for those grandchildren. So the capital, the property itself, will be earmarked for them, while the income is going to the other child who needs it at the moment. Whereas you couldn't do that if you'd just given the property to the one child. You wouldn't have separated the entitlement to the capital from the entitlement to the income. I certainly like to see the results when you can explain to people what the alternative outcomes of a situation or a plan might have been, and therefore how much better off their family is compared to having gone down a previous route they might have been considering. I do get involved in the planning aspect of trusts sometimes, often where people have got, say, a holiday home or investment property, or investments that they want to transfer to adult children rather than paying inheritance tax on them later. And it's quite often the case that a trust might be a suitable mechanism for them to set up now, or it might be the sort of situation where they simply want to incorporate a trust in their will to come into effect later after they've passed away. It may be a case of having ongoing capital gains tax reduction possibilities and ongoing income tax advantages, particularly where you've got young beneficiaries. So I can pick up the trust after the initial estate planning has been done and teach people that it can be tax efficient in more ways over the years of its life. So it gives a certain amount of satisfaction to think that, yes, this has now been done in the best possible way, in the best interests of the family who've come to me and are paying me for help, rather than them just doing something off the tops of their heads without thinking about going for advice or wanting to pay for any advice, and ending up simply paying more in tax than they would have paid for the advice to save the tax in the first place.